Hey folks, a bit later than planned today. It's the 6th day of Christmas. Later than planned because today I've had so many gems from two good friends, Dawn Palmer and Jules Whale, that I am swimming in an ocean of insights. So forgive the latitude, that's the right use of English. First day of Christmas, Christmas Day, we celebrate the birth of Jesus. Second day, St Stephen's Day, the martyr, and one of the first martyrs of the early church after the slaughter of the innocents. The fourth day of Christmas, which was the Feast of the Holy Innocents. The third day of Christmas, we had St John the Apostle speaking out words that create your future. Fifth day of Christmas, yesterday we had Sir Thomas à Becket, who died for his principles and his values. So what about the sixth day of Christmas? St Eggwin. I'd never ever heard of St Eggwin. Egwin, Egwin. Born in Worcester of a noble family of wealth, and he was very popular, was consecrated as bishop almost by popular demand, and that popularity disappeared almost overnight because the good thing about him is he was absolutely committed to widows and orphans. A bit like the Salvation Army. I think their logo, their slogan is belief in action or faith in action, really doing practical good. For St Egwin, it was about looking after widows and orphans, which is dear to God's heart. But also he was very strict, and he pushed towards the promotion of Christian marriage as they understood it, and clerical celibacy. So he made a few enemies, so much so that he was dispatched to Rome to answer to these strong accusations against him. And this is where his sainthood comes in, which we celebrate and remember today. I'm going to read from Wikipedia, the source of all truth. Egwin's stern discipline created a resentment which, as King Athelred was his friend, eventually found its way to his ecclesiastical superiors. He undertook a pilgrimage to Rome to seek vindication from the Pope himself. According to a legend, and here's where it gets wow, he prepared for his journey by locking shackles on his feet and throwing the key into the river Avon. According to one account, as Egwin and his companions were passing through the Alps, they began to thirst. Those among his companions who did not acknowledge the bishop's sanctities, and this is where his sainthood is coming forth, asked him mockingly to pray for water, as Moses once did in the desert. But others who did believe in him rebuked the unbelievers and asked him in a different tone, with true faith and hope. Egwin prostrated himself in prayer. On arising, they saw a pure stream of water gush forth out of the rock. Think that's good? Wait for the next bit. So he's thrown the key to his shackles into the Avon. While he's in Rome now, while he prayed before the tomb of the apostles in Rome, one of his servants brought him this very key, found in the mouth of a fish that had just been caught in the Tiber. Egwin then released himself from his self-imposed bonds and straightway obtained from the Pope an authoritative release from his enemies' Obloquy. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that. I had to look it up. Obloquy. It means strong public condemnation. So vindicated by the Pope and by a couple of miracles, Egwin goes back to England and he forms the very influential Abbey at Evesham Abbey, which became one of the great Benedictine houses of medieval England and was dedicated to the Virgin Mary, who will come up as one of our heroes of another day, another of the 12 days of Christmas. However, my very, very practical point for us today is that widows and orphans, looking after them is really, really important in the divine view of kindness and service in the world. So Egwin scored top marks there. You and I can score top marks as well. Now, whether there is a faith in you that there is a purpose to the universe or not, we can choose to do good, which is what the 12 days of Christmas is all about. And so I'm going to give you a very, very practical, easy channel to follow to make a tremendous difference in a suffering world at the moment. The United Nations have come up with 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These are goals that if we pursued to the fulfillment would lead to a much better stewardship of this beautiful pearl of a planet. But sitting between the United Nations and that fulfillment is a wonderful organisation called Buy One Give One, and its website is B, the letter B, the number 1, G and the number 2.com, buyonegiveone.com. And it was founded by a wonderful lady called Masami Sato, who went on an entrepreneur's boot camp in Bali. And the prize of going on this camp is if you were chosen, you would be coached by one of the best entrepreneurial coaches on the planet. And she came bringing her business, which was designer soups, beautiful, beautiful soups. And what she did was every time she sold one of these very expensive, very beautiful, perfect soups, she would give one to someone who couldn't afford it. And one of the facilitators there kind of took the mickey out of her. He said, "Oh, I've heard of buy one, get one free. I've never heard of buy one, give one." And she went silent because she'd heard her future. She'd seen her future. So she went quiet for a couple of days to the point that people were worried about her. But after the boot camp, she rang that facilitator and she said, "I can't do my business anymore." And he said, "I don't understand." She said, "I'm not going to do my soup business anymore." And he said, "Why?" She said, "Buy one, give one." He said, "I was joking." She said, "No, my life has changed." So she said to him in her broken English at the time, she said, "You sell vision, you give vision." And he said, "I don't understand." And what she meant was, if you were a seller of television, every time you sold a television, you would pay it forward to get somebody back their eyesight. There's so many things we can do for so little money, like Sight Savers, if you've seen the charity, to give people back their eyesight or prevent the loss of eyesight. There are parasites that can not just take a child's eyesight from them, but cause them great pain in the process. And dreadful stuff. And I think it's about 52 pence for the eye drops that can prevent this happening. Now, why wouldn't you, as an entrepreneurial thinker, commit to that? It's worth leaping out of bed on every day, on a Saint's Day like St Eggwin's Day, but every single day. So b1g1.com. And that's what we do as a business. If you do video services with me, every time you pay for a video service, I pay for a child to prevent the loss of sight, or for an elderly patient to get their sight back. My nan lost her sight, and so I'm very familiar with how people have to adapt to blindness. She didn't have something that could be repaired. But there's so much we can do for so little money, which is why I want to prosper in business, because the more I prosper, the more I give. And that's why I'm in business, and that's why St Egwin was in business. So I have a bold ambition that I want to share with you on this Saints' Day. And that is, I believe many of our children have suffered over the last year and have lost momentum in their education. Now, I moved down to Dorset, where I am now, to work with the amazing Vanda North of Busan Centre. She started Busan Centres around the world. Tony Busan, my mapping, speed reading, memory, study skills. And many weekends, Vanda and I would enjoy training fathers and daughters, mothers and sons, family workshops on how to study as a family. Isn't that a message for this time, developing family genius? So I would like to start creating videos for families out there who are hungry to learn, who are hungry to accelerate their learning, who are hungry to make up for lost time. That I want to give free. My time is not free. I need the resources to do this. So if you kind of like this, my joyous outcome from today's video would be either for you to go to b1g1.com and sign up, or directly support me in producing free study skills training for all those families that need that help. And think of all the families that have been forced into home education and they've got no training for it, perhaps even no desire to do it. We are talking about these children's future, and our children's future is the future of our planet and the future of our race. So on the 6th day of Christmas, let's do something amazing together.